I'm sorry. 2 o'clock? Oh, it's still 2 o'clock. I'm on time. Welcome to the November board meeting. It's a little early because we didn't want to interfere with November and with the Thanksgiving coming up. So if you could all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have the agenda up there. Okay. I'm waiting for my computer seems to be dead, so I'm waiting for the screen to come up for the agenda. Okay. It may look like a busy agenda, but it was intended to be much longer, and we just didn't get everything pulled together on time. So the first order of business would be to approve minutes, and you can see we've been very busy, and so there are minutes from 4 different meetings. So let's start with the October meeting that we held. Do I
I'd
have
like
a
to
motion?
make a motion that we approve the minutes from the October 28th regular board meeting.
I second it.
And everybody's had a chance to read them. And any discussion or concerns? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any against? Okay, Charlie, you got that? Okay. So the second one is the minutes of the November 7th. I'm not seeing them here, but I'll find them. November 7th executive board meeting. Everybody had a chance to executive meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from November 7th executive meeting.
Do I have a second? I'm sorry, special meeting. I'm sorry, the next one's executive. Special meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, everybody's had a chance to read those? Okay, and that's where we looked at the furniture and had Gooley here and reviewed all of that. So all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that carries. Now we have minutes of the November 11th executive session, which was related to personnel. So everyone was present for that meeting. So anybody?
I make a motion that we approve the November 11th executive session minutes.
I second that.
Any discussion, questions? I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. That one.
Janine, I'd like to make a motion to approve the special board meeting minutes from this past Tuesday, November 18th, which was a working board session, a strategic planning session for next year's board.
Thank you, Sean. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any concerns, issues? There were a few people there at 8 o'clock that morning, but that was more around strategy planning. So I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. That takes care of those 4. And that moves on to President's comments. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the roll call portion of this. See what happens when your computer's dead? Let's start at that end of the table.
Charlie Shawless, Recruiting Secretary.
Matt Campic, Director.
Sean Kreiderman, Director.
Larry Santora, Director.
Chuck Hill, Vice President.
Sherry Groupie, Secretary.
Brad Nickum, Treasurer.
And I think you know I'm the president, Janine Grippo.
Darren Shaw, COO.
Okay, now I'll go on to the opening remarks. First, I'd like to welcome everyone here to the meeting, and let me be the first to congratulate and welcome our new 2026 board members. Jean Noble, would you stand? And Joe Skull. Stay Skull. Okay. They both have made significant contributions related to the work they did on both finance and golf committees. And the number of rooftops that voted was 1,551, which is about a 48% vote turnout, which is pretty good. So I want to thank you all the members who came out to vote and help bring 2 new members to the board for 2026. As we approach Thanksgiving, I'd like to thank, first of all, the board for all the assistance during this very busy month, including, as you saw, we approved 4 sets of minutes, the executive board meeting, a special board meeting for the Mountain View Refresh, the board strategic workshop, and now, of course, this meeting. And also for the special assignments they've been working on, preparing documents and researching issues for upcoming board meetings, as well as this one. The committees, I'd also like to thank the committees and committee chairs who quickly responded to the requests for online volunteer forms and for working on their year-end reports, which are due in December. I'd also like to thank them for preparing themselves to work with their new liaisons in the December timeframe to help put together the slate of their particular committees, chair and members, which will be voted on at the January 6th board organizational meeting. So I know they have some work ahead of them. I'm thanking them in advance. I'd also like to thank Darren and his entire team for supporting the busy board meeting schedule, as we just saw, but also for completing some important facilities projects and supporting the committees and chairs in their work. I'm grateful for all of your contributions and teamwork, and I always think of it around the time of Thanksgiving, so thank you all. Darren is next.
Okay, a number of things to report on. The goats are still doing a fabulous job out there. They're still in Unit 14. That's a pretty big parcel back there that they're working in. They should be there for another couple weeks before we move them to a new location. We have a couple locations that we're considering. Road sealing is pretty much complete, about 90% complete. We do have to circle back to one road in the preserve area, and roadway repairs are just about complete too this year. So all the roadway work is substantially complete for 2025. The renovation of the preserve pool and the deck, the spa, the pool, the deck, that whole area is complete. So the preserve saw quite a few improvement projects this summer and this fall, and it's in really, really good shape. The Mountain View Clubhouse renovation project, $378,000 in phase 1 is underway. All the painting's been done. The 2 smaller bathrooms by the Sonoran Room are substantially complete. If you haven't gone in there to take a look at them, stop by and take a look. There's a few modifications we have to make, but they're substantially complete, and the project team did a good job there. At a special board meeting last week, the board approved phase 2 of the project, and that is all the furnishings, and that was approved for $327,000. More than 300 new pieces of furniture are going to be ordered and hopefully delivered in January. The Holiday Light Project, I don't know if you've seen the lights on the clubhouse. That's a really cool project. Those lights stay up 12 months a year. We have a lot of flexibility in terms of the colors we can show and holiday colors that we can show. And they're up now. If you haven't seen them, take a look. I think it's a great improvement over what we used to do is hang lights on the building and have to take them down. The community survey that you participated in is complete. All that data is being compiled. I'll report on a couple of those numbers today, later on, but we'll have a full report probably by the end of next week. And of course, we'll get that out to everybody and post it on the website as well. The employee benefit program was approved this year. We had to change brokers and we had to change carriers, and that can be disruptive, but we were pretty fortunate to work with a very good broker, Mahoney Group, and we shifted from Blue Cross to Banner Aetna. And in the process, it resulted in about a $250,000 swing positive to the association. The employees get a better package, and they pay less money for it as well. So we just had our open enrollment event this week earlier, and I think open enrollment starts next Monday. So you have about 80 employees that are part of that program. Planning is underway for the December 12th Employee Appreciation Event, and that should be a good event for the employees, and we thank all the volunteers that are part of that. New menus are going to be rolling out at the Preserve. At the Preserve, they're going to be rolling out, I think, next week. December 5th, and then early January, they're going to be rolling out at the Mountain View Clubhouse. Tennis courts 9, 10, and 11, right? Those are the tennis courts that we originally were going to split or divide up over 3 years. We ended up putting them in 1 year, 2026. We reached out to the contractors. We competitively bid that. Reached out to the contractor we wanted to work with. He had some time in December, so we're going to accelerate that work. We can't pay him till January, till we get into 26, but because we accelerated that work, we'll save probably about $100,000 on that project cost. So from $450 to $350, so it's substantial savings. Thanksgiving Day meals, inside and to go, are at about 850, almost 900 now. So Thanksgiving Day is going to be a big day for food and beverage down here at Mountain View as well as the Preserve. Continued improvements are taking place at the Mountain View event lawn area. I don't know if you've looked out there lately, but we added some Gabion boxes and we ripped up all the broken curbing that went around the grass area and just installed travertine. Looks really good. It's a subtle improvement, but it really makes an impact. We'll continue to make improvements there. We are looking at a pergola to make that stage area more useful during the summer months. Reserve and capital expense allocation planning is going to start next week. There's a number of projects that were approved with this 2026 budget on the reserve and the capital side. We'll start calendaring them and making sure that we have enough cash flow every month to complete those projects. So there's a team meeting, I think, next week on that. And the state land purchase continues to move forward. It's going to be a lengthy process, but it is moving forward, and we hope to hear something in the coming months. And then one final thing, the 2026 assessment or dues statements are going to be mailed, I think, next week, December 1st. They're due on January 15th, and you're late on January 31st. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Ginny,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just want to make a comment if I could. Darren, I want to extend my appreciation to you on behalf of all the residents for your aggressiveness in finding ways to save us money. It's appreciated.
Okay, I'm inviting Terry up to the stage to give us our financial report.
All right, so first of all, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy holidays. We're going to walk through our October results. The first thing up here on the screen you'll see is our cash and investments for October 31st. Our combined cash total is $12,756,000, which is right down here. And so out of that, $11,493,000 is currently invested. We get 3.75 to 4% on that. Operating cash was $3,290,000, which is right in here, and $8 million in reserves, and we got $1.4 million in capital improvement fund. So overall, our cash position is about 12% better, 12.8% better than what it was in October 24. Okay, next slide. So For our reserves, there's an adjusted budget of $4.4 million in the reserve expenditures. Through October, we spent $2.4 million so far. That doesn't take into account the $150,000 we have to pay Roadrunner. I just saw the invoice for that come across my desk, and then the Mountain View 378 that Darren mentioned, and then we got to put about $126,000 down for our half a down payment on the furniture. So that'll eat up some of that extra that we have there. Okay. Yes, our spend projection for 2026 right now is $3.9 million, which is, sorry, that's the next slide. So yeah, so it's right here, our $3.9 million, that's our spend projection. So far we spent 2.4, and these are the reserve items that I'm talking about. And then down here in this section, we have our other CapEx that we spend dollars on, so that's $570,000, and we spent about 520 of that so far. Okay, let's see. Next slide. Okay, so just looking at the operations for just looking at the operations and our projection for 2025. This section is just all of our sources of revenue that we have coming in. And again, this is just operations. This does not include our reserves and our CIF. So that's $8 million that we have in operations, and another $4 million actually goes into reserves. And so from this, it shows that our revenue for dues and other revenue are slightly better than reforecast by $28,000. Our revenue from amenities are projected to be below reforecast by $255,000, which is down in this section here. So that's our restaurants, golf, fitness, theater, lifestyle. We had reforecasted $8.6 million at the end of July. It looks like we're going to come in about 8.4, so that's about 255 miss on that. But with that, F&B, they are falling short of reforecast by 138. We expect this to rebound somewhat with the Thanksgiving dinners Darren was just talking about. Golf revenue is behind reforecast by $174,000, and this is mainly due to their daily play and is behind budget, and that's causing some of the issue with the budgeting there, or with the amount of cash we're bringing in. The total operating revenue was $17,164,000, and we are projecting that to be $16,931,000, which is about $233,000 less than reforecast. So that's this right here, and that's just revenue. So go to the next slide. Okay, for our expenses, restaurants are tracking about $45,000 under reforecast, and golf is trailing reforecast by about $95,000. So our total expenses are doing better than reforecast overall by about $139,000. So that's showing our expenses right here. And then we have our net income, or net operating income. We projected $716,000. We reforecast $716,000. I'm projecting $623,000 right now. So we're short by about $93,000. But keep in mind, our budget was $312,000 at the beginning of the year, and we've doubled that. So overall, even though this looks, people are going to say, "Oh, you're doing horrible." We're not doing horrible. We're doing a lot better than what we had budgeted. So just keep that in mind. And let's see. Okay, so our next slide. This slide just shows our operating P&L for operations just for the month of October. So fees and assessment revenue is up 8.7% from 2024, and better than budget by $7,000. Amenity subsidy of $180,000 was greater than last year by 92%, and greater than budget by $140,000. So as I said, we're doing better than we did last year, and better than against budget. Our operating expenses are down 6.6%. in October from 2024 and better than budget by $18,000. The total net subsidy is $43,000, which is less than October of 24 by 16.8%. Okay, next slide. Okay, our last slide is just our dues allocation. So far through October, we've allocated $3,000 per rooftop. And with that, going clockwise, the restaurants is $90 of that, or 3%. Reserves is $903 of that $3,000. Theater is in the black, so there's no subsidy there. Petroleum $93. Common area maintenance $477. Lifestyle is $29, and facilities $492. G&A makes up $724 of that, and fitness is $11, with golf being $181. So that's all I have for today. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and that's it.
Okay, I'm going to ask for treasurer's comments at this point.
Thank you, Terry. Forgive me, but I'll just sit if that's okay with everybody. I have the easiest job in this room. I get to summarize all these details and bundle it up in a very positive story, which is sometimes difficult for some to picture in their minds. A question that comes up to me often is they hear that things are going great, and how did it all change in the last year and a half? A year and a half ago, rightfully so, a board was confronted with projections and assumed needs with reserves on a certain timeline, where it essentially told the community we had a $15 million problem. Where'd that go? Well, it essentially got resolved in three pieces. One, you, the community, supported putting $5 million of your own money into our balance sheet during the summer of 2024. That was a third of the problem. Another third of the problem disappeared when Darren and Troon, the board, golf committee, and finance committee sorted out some facts and got some expert outside advice on everything from irrigation systems and whatever. And the community got comfortable that we were able to push back the renovation of the preserve until 2031. That essentially allowed us to keep another $5 million in accumulated funds over a 2-year period. Where'd the last million or the last $5 million come from? Well, Terry and Darren, Finance Committee, etc., worked together to do a better job of investing our cash. And that, over a 5-year period, is generating $1 million in excess of what we were originally trending towards. Darren and his team, I see Bill down there, I see Ray, they figured out a way to create enough net income from our operating fund so that this year and for years to come, we can siphon off $500,000 and put it in reserves. That didn't exist prior to that. Matt wished he had it. It would have made his life so much easier. And then we moved a few other things around. It all added up to a little bit more than $5 million. So we've gone from a $5 million hole to now where we look at an extensive reserve study created by Darren and his team, and over the next 10 years, our run rate on average, for maintenance requirements on existing assets is about $4.8 million a year. In the 61 or whatever nightmarish pages Terry has put together here in the budget package, which is available to anybody on our website. If you look at the excess net income pre-depreciation from our operating fund, which is $752,000, and you add to that the revenue that does not flow through our operating fund, which is 30% of our annual dues, that adds another almost $3.6 million. If you add the interest income being earned on reserves and on SIF funds, and if you add all of our SIF revenue, which is now running at a $1.1 million range, we generate $5.8 million per year that can go into fixing stuff, continuing to maintain stuff, and even eventually building stuff we don't have or buying machines that we don't have. Are those numbers good? Well, let's put it into context. And I don't mean to pick on our neighbors, but it's good to compare numbers. On October 1st, our neighbors published their budget for 2026. Their net income before depreciation, again, on a consolidated basis, they don't break it down in funds like we do. Our 5.8 million, theirs is, I think, 2.1 million. Their run rate average over the next 10 years for reserve requirements is $3.3 million. They have a $1.2 million shortfall. We have about an $800,000 a year surplus. We've got room for error. The difference between that shortfall is approximately the difference in our dues. Our dues level, plus or minus inflation, is sustainable. Theirs is not. A lot of the people in this room have heard this story over and over again, and I'm going to keep on telling it because the perception out there is not the reality. I want everybody in this community to feel good about our management team, our amenities, the fact that we are going to maintain everything we have, and we're going to be able to manage things without extraordinary special assessments or exceptionally high dues increases. All these details that Terry shared, it's easy to get buried in that, oh, we missed the budget on this line item or that line item, and a lot of people focus on that. But the fact of the matter is we're heading in a sustainable direction, and we're going to be okay. Thanks.
And that's our cheerleader for the finance team. Darren is going to take it with his staff and go and report out on some of our goals here.
So in the board manual, the board set 10 different goals this year, and every other month we report out on 2 of them. And today we're going to be reporting on communications and sustainable membership. Reporting on communications is our marketing director, Michelle Pendleton.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. You can go ahead and go to that first slide. Perfect. Goal 6 focuses on strengthening communication across our HOA. I'll be referencing our 23 and 2025 community survey. Over the past 2 years, we have built a communication system that is clear, more predictable, and far more accessible than ever before. Let's begin with Objective 1. Next slide. Objective 1 is our 6-month communication plan. Communication works best when there's clear expectations, when residents know what to expect and when to expect it. Then communication feels predictable, comfortable, and reliable. Our board and committees are working now to ensure the full calendar of the 2026 meetings are published by January 1st online, so residents always have a roadmap, as we've done in 2024 and 2025. In addition to the meeting calendar, We use a 21, 14, 7, and 1-day meeting notice sequence. And Charlie in admin does a great job posting the board agendas 72 hours in advance. Website and email remain the primary channels for communication. This structure gives every resident a dependable foundation for staying informed, and that becomes even stronger when we introduce more accessible formats. So, next slide, please. This is where we saw one of the clearest transformations in resident engagement. In 2023, 45% of residents were not attending or viewing board meetings in person or online. But by 2025, that number fell to 15%. Our focus isn't on the drop, but our focus is on the why it happened. As communication became clearer, schedules became more predictable, and live streams and recordings became easy to access, residents naturally became more engaged. When you remove barriers for information, people show up. When communication is accessible, participation grows. We have our how-to video library. Our live stream supports travelers, snowbirds, caregivers, anyone who prefers to join from home. We have our archive recordings that ensure no one ever misses a meeting. The rise in the participation is powerful proof that clear, accessible communication leads to stronger engagement. Next slide, please. The next slide. So Justin, our creative marketing strategist, has become our brand ambassador. So when emails, digital screens, printed materials all look unified, residents instantly recognize the message that's trustworthy and reliable. When our brand transcends the confines of the community, we want to ensure that it's recognizable, award-winning, and credible. So a consistent visual identity, it strengthens our credibility, and that's what we're working on. Next slide, please. So we have technology on here. You've noticed OptiSigns that we've implemented on all of our digital screens. It provides scheduled content, real-time updates, emergency messages, all throughout the community. We audit the website continuously based on the pages that are viewed most, source traffic, and feedback from you residents. It helps improve clarity and overall user experience. We're currently placing updated meta tags on the back end of the website that helps Google crawl the website, and then over 60 to 90 days that helps re-rank our organic efforts. This helps us position great heading into 2026, and also helps compete against properties who have Saddlebrook in their URL. We continue to expand fillable online forms for greater resident convenience and internal processes. Our goal is to make information easier to find, easier to use for everyone. Next slide. So this is where we're integrating AI and workflow systems. We're trying to establish an AI policy now to protect resident and staff information and ensure responsible, accurate communication. We're in the process for Q1 to develop a Saddlebrook One chat model for the website to help guide residents, answer questions, and reduce front desk volume for inquiries. We also use Monday.com for a project management system in-house, not only marketing projects, but also major initiatives like our Mountain View Clubhouse refresh. These tools help us communicate faster, cleaner, and more consistently. Next slide. So our communication response protocol. Response times vary based on urgency and department, but every form of resident communication restaurant receipts, the Upkeep app, help, info, or board emails. All of them are routed directly to the team that's best equipped to address it correctly, accurately. We want this to be timely, organized, and dependable. Next slide. So in 2023, communication satisfaction was 54%. Today, it's 74%. The satisfaction decreased from 17% to around 4%. This reflects a communication system that's modern, consistent, and accessible, and one that residents trust. Next slide. So in 2 years, we've created a communication ecosystem that is modern, accessible, informed, so that residents can feel more informed, more engaged, and willing to participate. And we will continue to improve our communication dynamic, always with residents as the center focal point for that information. That's all you. Then Darren has 10.
So this is the other report out that we had, labeled Sustainable Membership. Can you go to the next slide, please, or the first slide? So the board goal: deliver on our mission by providing an exceptional member experience, provide support to the real estate community, monitor trends. We have to do that. Monitor competitive posture with other 55 communities, right? We have to make sure we know what everybody else is doing, and develop a common website landing page. And we'll talk about that a little bit later as we go through a couple of the other slides. The idea was to have a joint landing page for Saddlebrook 1 and Saddlebrook 2, but that probably won't happen. Let's go to the next slide. Exceptional member experience. Just our clubhouse renovation is a perfect example of that. We're trying to make sure that our amenities are well maintained, that we are making the improvements in a timely manner, and that we're staying competitive with other like communities. So elevated focus on dining, clubhouse upgrades. We're continually focusing on that. We're continuously focusing on our menu options at our restaurants. We're continually focusing on our golf experience and our fitness experiences, and we are completely focused on the member-centric experience. What we're tracking to show improvement, year-to-year increases in satisfaction from 23 to 25. I mentioned in my report that we just got done doing that survey. All that data is being compiled, but we do have some interesting information to share with you today. Increased participation in social activities. We're trying to introduce new programming and new events. This year, I think we introduced 5 or 6 new programs. Some will probably fall by the wayside, others will continue, and we'll add more new programming next year. We enhanced our amenity, our pools, our fitness, our dining, our walking. We're continually focusing on making a community that our members can be proud of. So exceptional member experience. 23 versus 25. So we wanted to see in the last 2 years if we made improvements in terms of the general rating or specific ratings on different things that people think about the community. Our overall satisfaction improved from 66 in 23 to 74 in 25. National average is 79. We're on the right track. Residents willing to recommend Saddlebrook, it went from 78% to 84%. That says something. Community environment ratings, security, cleanliness, maintenance, lighting, signage, now 82%. Results reflect investments in amenities, facilities, communication and responsiveness, the whole gamut. Member perception of value increased from 48 to 63%. That's a huge jump. Represents a 15-point improvement and a 31% increase in positive sentiment. So we are seeing a real dynamic shift here. Reflects investments, dining facilities, amenities. It reflects everything that we're doing. And supports Goal 10, which is to deliver an exceptional member experience. Next slide. So here's some of the ratings that we pulled from the survey data. Overall satisfaction from 66 to 74. Would recommend the community, outsiders, 78 to 84. Value for cost satisfaction, 48% to 63%. Potential improvements, Mountain View Dining Room, 38%. We're doing the refresh right now. Event satisfaction, 67 to 74. Food quality, 41 to 47. We did see a drop in the preserve food quality. We've made changes up there. We're on a different track now. We're going to get dialed in up there over the next 3 or 4 months. And Mountain View Golf Course, 45% versus 52%. So these numbers really show a dramatic trend. Let's go to the next slide. Provide support to the real estate community. We have the biannual realtor event. We're going to be doing that in December. And we're putting together a package to present to the realtors to help them understand that Saddlebrook 2 is the ultimate choice for people who want to come to live in Saddlebrook. We're just much better, and we're better equipped than Saddlebrook 1. Q&A forums to gather feedback, new real estate resources, a community brochure that's just about done, sales pages pretty much done, rules and regulations, point of contact, amenity access. We're putting together a program that makes it easy for realtors to focus on how great Saddlebrook 2 is. Let's go to the next slide. So trending, right? We have to look at our trending. It's important that we know Florida's the #1 state people are moving to. North Carolina second, Arizona third. We track that information just so we know what's out there on a national level. Although community occupancy remains above 90% nationally. Let's go to the next slide. You'll see locally, Saddlebrook 2, Green Valley, Sun City. We look at the stats, we look at the homes, we look at how many days homes are on the market, we look at resale values to identify whether or not we are a preferred community for people. And you can look at this data, and I think you can extrapolate that we are a preferred community once we can get them out here to see what we got and who we are. Competitive posture with others, that was on the prior slide. Median sales price, $475, 79 days on the market. That's still better than most of our competitors. Price range, $300s to $1 million. Floor plans are bigger. How do we compare regionally? Higher value profit than many established 55-plus communities. Demand remains solid. Longer average tenure. People are staying 8 to 10 years. There's a reason to stay here because we're a wonderful community. We have a competitive advantage. Modern amenities, and the ones that aren't modern, we're trying to modernize them. Strong governance, got great governance system out here. Comprehensive communication. I hear sometimes people say, well, we just don't feel listened to. We try and communicate quite a bit in our office. That's pretty much what we're doing all day, trying to communicate and make sure people have the opportunity and availability of information. So if we're not doing something that you think we should be doing, you just need to let us know, and we'll make some shifts and try and address our programming so that we can get you what you need. But communication is one of the most important elements of our whole business here. Let's go to the next slide. The landing page. HOA 1's really not interested in having a joint landing page because when you do searches on the internet, they have the Saddlebrook URL, and Saddlebrook 1's naturally going to pop up first before Saddlebrook 2. They're not interested in giving up that advantage. I've had that conversation with the management over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to make some adjustments to our side. We're going to advertise home listings with photos and details. We're going to have an interactive community map for the realtors. We're going to have a Zillow integration with current listings and pricing. We're going to have an amenity snapshot, and we're going to have a what's new upgrades and improvement timeline. So we're going to bring our information to the realtors in hopes that they make us a priority when they're looking at the Saddlebrook area with their clients. Next slide. So that's it for that. Those are the report outs on communication and sustainable membership. A shout out to my team. I think my team is doing a wonderful job on all fronts, and if we're not, then we're trying to get there, and I appreciate all their hard work. Thanks.
Okay, we have 3, I think you all know that we've had the special, it's not called special, it's called the Policy Executive Committee that was formed earlier this year, and we've been working through policies that are years old. And so today we will have 3 that have gone through the rewrite process, and that we will be looking to send for 21-day comment. And the first one is the records retention policy. And I hope everyone, if you were able to look at some material ahead of time, you'll know that that's ready for 21-day comment. Do I have a motion?
Move that we conditionally approve the proposed records retention policy and post for a 21-day member comment period.
And I second.
Okay. Discussion among the board members. Anybody from the membership want to speak to this? Records retention is a really important topic in all kinds of major corporations, and so we're just catching up now.
And we never really had a record retention policy, so I gave that task to Charlie, and that was her project, and she did a good job on it.
Okay. Yay, Charlie. And she got it pretty smoothly through the executive committee, too. It was very well done. Okay, so let's call for the vote to send it out for 21-day comment. All in favor? We got it unanimous? Okay, I don't even have to ask for opposed. The next one is the investment policy, and that one we worked on a few months ago and just are now getting it out for 21-day comment. And, you know, obviously Brad talked about the fact that we've moved forward with how we're investing differently, but this investment policy needed a rewrite. So do I have a motion to move this on to 21-day?
I make a motion to move on to 21-day review by the community, the investment policy.
Before that, I have one question on this, and it's the part where the investments can be in treasuries.
Can we second it and then go on to comments?
Okay, I'll second it then.
Okay, second. Okay,
And now then I'll raise a question. Shouldn't that be defined a little better, because treasuries run up to 30 years, and our investment policy states that things have to be short-term, liquid.
That's a very good point, Larry, and I think it should be no more than intermediate term. I would
short-term.
agree with that concern.
Okay.
So if we
Short-term, yeah.
so if we revise this draft to intermediate, or
No, it wouldn't be intermediate, because you'd be talking at a 5 or 10-year treasury. You don't want that. We want liquidity. So we're using now the Fidelity, which goes in and out on the treasuries, and it's liquid within a day. So if we kind of defined it to something like that, so that a future board doesn't look and say, hey, let's go buy some 30 years because they're paying, 3%. We don't want that type of investment.
So to clarify for everybody in the audience, it's not like we're going out and actually buying T-bills or T-notes or T-bonds, but our money is in Fidelity, Fidelity, Vanguard, you can't go wrong. And we're buying into funds where they have a litany of underlying assets, which are treasuries. That being said, I have no problem with limiting it to short-term as defined by Fidelity, if that makes you feel better.
Well, we're in a Fidelity Treasuries mutual fund, right? Yeah. So that money can be pulled out any time. We're not limited to 30 years.
Correct. You just move it to a fund. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Terry, but we're pretty much in funds that are short-term in nature. We just don't have a formal policy to that effect. That's correct? Okay. The other thing I would mention is it's not just safety as to what your underlying investments are, but Terry, where our cash was in a traditional bank, that bank is having some issues. So we've put it into a bigger and better bank, Chase, JP Morgan, and that's happened in the last month, I guess. Okay, so
Because it is in section 4.2 which talks about permissible investments, it doesn't say we have to go into them. U.S. Treasury obligations is one of the permissible, but right now we're in the insured bank deposits, FDIC or NCUA, and money markets. So can we send this out for 21-day comment and put this in as a comment, have the rest of the group also be able to comment on this?
Yeah, just understand that the money markets are treasury-backed money markets. So the only thing at issue is, do we specify it has to be short-term treasuries that support the money markets?
Yeah, if we put it in there now, then you don't have to go out again for another 21-day period if we want to change it when it comes up for a vote. So I think it should be adjusted now before it goes out for the vote.
All right, so with that amended wording, do we have any comment, any other board comment? Anybody from the membership? All right, you're going to get to see it for 21 days anyway, so be sure to, anyone, sharpen your pencils and whatnot. So I'm calling for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? None. All right. I think the last time we saw the amenities policy here at the board meeting, we decided that we would send it back to committee for a little bit of rework on definitions and things of that nature. And we also wanted to make sure that it was, let's say, coordinated with the member club policy, which we're also working on and we'll have for you in December. We now have revision 2 of the amenities policy, and anybody want to give me a motion on that one?
I'll make a motion to conditionally approve the proposed policy rewrite for the amenity use and rental policy and publish for the 21-day member comment period.
And I'll pull a Larry and second that and have a comment.
Go right ahead.
The comment is a couple times in there, I think 3, you talk about fee-based amenities, such as the theater, the ballroom, public fees. In one of them, you include the meeting rooms at Mountain View, but in the other 2, you do not. So I would just suggest that that be consistent throughout.
So section, can you point?
I don't have it in front of me. I think it's
Okay.
4.1, 5.1.
Okay. 4.1. Yeah. All right. All right. So you want us wherever we said wherever we put Mountain View
Meeting rooms.
meeting rooms.
Mountain View and Preserve meeting rooms.
It does say or preserve. Meeting,
It does in one, but it's noted 2 other times and they're left out.
okay. So
So just be
It's a
consistent.
consistency issue. Okay. So we'll look for that, and if we make that change. Okay. All right. So any other comments, concerns, issues? How about from our members? You're just waiting for it to come out for 21-day review, aren't you? Okay, it has the price list if you want to rent the cornhole courts and things of that nature. All right. Do you have a question? Yeah, I do have a question. No. Come to the mic, Gene.
New board members aren't allowed. Until Monday.
Your name and unit, please.
I don't know.
Be close to the mic.
4326 Gene Noble. So I have a question on the process for the fees. I mean, are they recommended, but then Darren has the ability to waive them, or are they mandatory? Because we got to give some latitude for adjustments if necessary. So are they listed as mandatory, where give the COO no ability and flexibility to discount them because there's another way to make the same amount of money?
Yeah, I think, the board, the way this policy reads, Gene will sign off every year on the fee structure, but we definitely maintain the flexibility to make adjustments along the way.
Okay, thank you, Jean. Anyone else? No. All right, I'm calling for the vote. All in favor? No one's opposed. All right, these are all going out for 21-day comment, and I'm sure when you're hanging the Christmas stockings, you'll have time to look at these, right? Okay, so the next topic is for the Fitness, Wellness, and Recreation Committee. They have an appointment coming up. They had an opening, so who's handling that? Chuck? Okay, thank you.
There shall be up to 9 members. Currently, there are 6. As of November 4th meeting, the committee voted to recommend that the board appoint Eileen Hansen to the committee to bring in the total up to 9. I make a motion to approve the appointment of Eileen Hansen to the Fitness, Wellness, and Recreation Committee.
Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, discussion among the board? Anybody in the membership? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? None. Last time we met in October, we sent out some rules and regulations changes that have gone out for 21-day comment. And so now we're at the point where the board is going to be asked to vote on those. Who wants to talk about these? You want to talk about them, Chuck?
Are we going to do the alcohol thing first, or are you going to do the
No, the rules and regulations, we got to do them in 2 parts. There's
street parking? Okay. After the meeting yesterday, the street parking issue is just parking on the side of the road with the flow of the traffic. However, the Arizona law, number 28-874, I think was the original intent of the rule. And the only difference is that included that the vehicle had to be within 18 inches of the curb. And the reason that's important is that some of these landscape people, I've actually seen them, will park 3 and 4 feet out away from the curb so they can get on that side of their trailer and dump stuff. Well, that tends to block the road. So unfortunately, we would like to add to this that this policy or rule would be in accordance with Arizona Statute 28-874, which includes the 18 inches.
Can you repeat the Arizona statute number?
28-874.
Okay, so that's you're making the motion to approve it with that change?
With that slight change.
Okay.
So that it mirrors the law.
Do I have a second? Second. Chuck seconded. And any other discussion among the board? Members? All right, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? None. All right, the second part, what was this? Yeah,
Well, the
who's
second
speaking
part
to,
is
are you
the
taking that one too?
pedestrians. Yeah, and that's pretty simple. That's there to walk on the other side of the road where the car is coming from, and they can be across from each other. But when cars come, they need to be in single file, because we've had instances where groups will walk together, even with their dogs, and block traffic. So this
Yeah,
rule is
that's what
just
he's
to kind of clear things up a little bit and ask them to be a little more careful about how they're walking.
So you're making the motion to
Includes
go with this as written? So is that, you're making the motion to go with this as written?
That's how it's written. Yeah, so the motion is to approve it as written.
Do I have a second? Chuck?
Second.
Chuck raised his hand because he didn't want to wrestle the mic away. All right. Any other board comment? I did have someone, when we brought this up last month in the meeting, come up to me afterwards and say, well, what's the use of putting this in here if you're not going to enforce it? So Darren and I have been discussing maybe more education type things. I suggested that the patrol have little flyers in their car for pedestrians they could hand them to. Kind of a warning, not a ticket, but a warning, or something. So we're going to work at that. I understand it's frustrating for folks who say, well, nobody enforces them, but we, number one, can't have patrol everywhere, and number two, it's sometimes doesn't appear to be in a dangerous situation. So, but we'll try to get a little more education out to the walkers who are perhaps going to get killed by that Jeep that runs around in the in the facility. Okay, so
President Grippo, before you go on, I have a question. I'm sorry, I just realized in the street parking, it says parking SBHOT blah 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 unless authorized in advance by general manager. So that's going to be Ray's job.
Is that Ray's job? She's back on this one. Unless
That's the old one, yeah.
that's the old one.
We should change that to COO.
Okay, I think it should be. Thank you.
All right, now do we have to re-vote on that? Okay. It's no, it matters. It's a change. Okay, so did we take the vote on this? We took the vote on the walking with the traffic? Or did we not? We didn't vote on the traffic one. Let's finish the traffic and go back to the walking with traffic. No, we're doing them one at a time. Okay, so any other comments on, I was the last comment. No member comments. All right, all in favor of the walking? All right, and there were no opposed. Let's back up to the street parking. Okay, who needed to, Larry, you need to amend the motion on that street parking.
I'd like to amend my motion on the street parking to correct our old designation of general manager to COO.
And a second, Chuck, you seconded. Did you want to second the change?
Sure.
Okay, and I'm sure there's no more comment. I see your faces. All in favor? None opposed. All righty. Oh, thank goodness it's almost Thanksgiving, huh? We get a rest. The last topic I have on the list is, and I asked Darren to put this on the agenda because I've seen it in his management report almost every month since he's arrived about his concern here. And so I'm going to let Darren take the topic of outside alcohol on the golf course.
Yeah, this is a touchy one. I work for the board, but I'm also an advisor for the board. And when I see something that I'm concerned about, I try and express my concern to the board and try and influence them maybe to make a shift or maybe make a new decision. I noticed when I first came on board here that there were no restrictions or prohibitions for beer and alcohol on either one of the golf courses. I mean, it's freely moving around both golf courses, and it's never been enforced. And both golf courses are licensed facilities. And if you're a licensed facility under ARS Statute 244, it's against the law to allow outside beverages on a licensed facility. It would be no different than somebody walking into the Mountain View Clubhouse with a six-pack of beer and sitting down at the table. You can't do that. And just because the golf course is outside, it doesn't change that. It's still part of that licensed footprint. So as Janine and Matt said, every month I give a management report to the board. And from my very first month here, I said, hey, I'm concerned about this. We should probably do something. But if I did it on my own unilaterally, there would probably be people coming to the board and saying, hey, what's going on? So I asked the board to consider taking a position on this, and if the position they take enforces the rule, then we can come up with ways to enforce it on the golf course. We're not golf courses. We're not going to, we're not going to be police officers out there and making it, a police action out there. We're not going to chase people down, but I think we need to put appropriate procedures in place that says, hey, when people check in, make sure you don't have outside alcohol. If you do, you got to take it back to your car. You got to buy it from us. We're a licensed facility that can sell on-site, that can sell to go, and that's where it's at right now. So I'll leave it to the board.
Do I have a motion?
Is there a reason this is not going out for a 21-day comment period?
Yes, it's the law.
Well, last month we had a working meeting and Rules and Regs wanted to pass something out that was against the law and we required it go out for a 21-day comment period. Why is this different?
Because this is not something we're putting into writing in the rules and regs at this time. We're asking for a motion to enforce this now.
So we're not putting a motion to change the rule.
There's never been a rule one way or the other on this.
Okay.
That's the point.
I just want to make sure we're consistent.
It's not related to rules and regs. It's related, they can add it later, but
Rules and regs has always prohibited alcohol on the golf course because of this law. It's in our rules and regs document.
So
We just never enforced
I
it.
never read
We-
that.
We have been, as a community, cognizant of this law. We just never had a Darren stand up and look the board in the eye and say, you're not enforcing this.
So the purpose of this vote then is not to create a new rule or a new policy. It's just to back up Darren in that we're supporting his enforcement. I don't think that needs a 21-day.
So do I have a motion?
I'll be happy to do it because I'm a golfer, not. I move to conform with Arizona State Statute 4-244 and enforce the outside alcohol on the golf course prohibition. And the same thing happens in the restaurants. I'm dealing with a cast right now that says, we're going to do a show at 2 and another show at 7. Where are we going to eat? I said, Friday night you can order from the club, and Saturday night you can order from the, it's not open Saturday night. Well, you know what? Bring a sandwich. We're not going to bring food into the Mountain View, period. We shouldn't be bringing outside alcohol or even soda pop onto the golf course. Buy it at the links.
So my question is, this is not just a golf course issue, right, Darren? This would be sitting on the patio at Mountain View or the back of Preserve. So I'm assuming the existing rule is on all facilities, not just golf course. Is that correct? All licensed facilities. So what we're voting on is backing you up and enforcing it across the board where appropriate. Now I got it.
So who's my second?
I'll second that.
Any other discussion among the board?
I just wanted to ask if we're going to put a big cooler in the golf pro shop so they can sell some beer right out of the pro shop in case the restaurant is closed.
It already is there.
Oh, we
at
already
both.
have it there.
Yeah.
It's there.
All right, and then Dale, are you going to sit out there and look at all the golf carts? All right.
Okay, then it says, from what Mr. Brad just said, enforce the outside alcohol on the golf course and all golf facilities. Do we need?
All facilities,
Okay.
not just golf.
Then I'd like to amend my motion to say, move to conform with ARS 4-244 and enforce the outside alcohol in all facilities, licensed
Licensed
facilities,
facilities.
none, prohibition. Licensed facilities.
So that would allow, for example, if you rented out the space at pickleball and they brought beer there, that's not a licensed facility?
So we're working on a rule revision that will allow people to have potlucks and bring beer to like cornhole or pickleball or softball, right? Because those aren't licensed facilities.
And we're not, pickleball's not under the,
No.
it's not licensed, so.
Okay.
Okay, so I amend my motion.
So you
Brad,
need
will
to
you second
amend your
it?
second.
What she said. I second.
Okay. Any other comments from the board? Thank you, Matt, for pointing out that it's already in the regs, rules and regs. Obviously, I don't read anything about alcohol. So, any other comments? How about our membership? Paula, come on up to the mic. Make sure the mic is working. Pound that a little.
Paula Arnold, 44A 19. Where is it in there, Matt? I'm trying to find it. I'm not suggesting that it shouldn't be enforced, but if people say, well, if it's already in there, where is it? So that's just my point.
Yeah, it's in there. It was discussed by the Rules and Regs Committee yesterday that that was a rule. So,
We'll find it and get back to you, okay, Paul? We'll get it back to you, Paula. Okay, I think we have a question. Al, is that you?
Yes,
Okay.
my name is Al Hendricks. It's Unit 23. My question is, a couple of them. First, who is going to enforce these rules that we're putting on to people? Are they going to check every golf course, every cooler? They don't let the Rangers have any authority now.
I think that we'll have to come up with some procedures. I didn't do that at this point yet because I was unsure whether the board would support enforcing that rule. But like I said, we have check-in at the golf operations, and I think that we need to have those discussions with the people that are checking in. I think when our marshals are out there, if they see people drinking alcohol that didn't come from our shop, they need to have that alcohol removed. I mean, we'll just have to figure out how to deal with that. It's not going to be a police state, but I think that we have to show some effort in abiding by the law versus ignoring the law.
If you have a cooler and you have 3 or 4 beers in it with ice, how are they to know where it came from?
We know what beer we sell in the pro shop, and I just saw 4 people drinking beers on the patio on the video camera the other day, and I reached out to all of them, and they were all drinking beer that didn't come from our pro shop. So, if we see something that's obvious, then we're going to have to figure out how to correct it.
Darren, could I jump in for a second?
Yeah.
Because this isn't all about you. We can sit here and play this game for hours. We have a lot of rules in the community, and what we expect our members to do is abide by our rules. The reason why you have a 7-member board is one of our major responsibilities is to enforce the rules. Now, we don't have an enforcement mechanism. We actually want to do the best we can to inform the members of what right looks like, and hopefully our members will want to conduct themselves in accordance with our rules. Now, I've been on this board for 3 years, and that's not a universal deal. There are people here that don't want to follow the rules. Our effort here is to recognize that there is a law and that we have an obligation as your board to support what the law mandates for us as your representatives of your corporation.
Yeah, the other issue from my standpoint is that if we show no inkling to follow the law, we could lose our license. And I don't think anybody wants to see that happen.
Well, this has been going on for quite a while. It's going to be hard to stop. So good luck on that. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Mona.
Mona Devine, Unit 45. Actually, I think they kind of summed up what I was going to say, Matt. I don't think you can vote no on this without jeopardizing your license, for one thing. And I think you should call it education and enforcement. And it really is enforcement at whatever level you decide. You just can't ignore it. And you certainly can't vote against it. You just can't, because it's the state, isn't it? Your license, if you vote against it, which I assume you're not going to, you would be jeopardizing the license. And I think the residents need to recognize that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that Dale, where's Dale, is going to go out there and be inspecting ice chests or anything like that, but we have to make the reasonable effort if you see something very obvious and it's a growing problem to do reasonable enforcement and education. And it could be a simple sign in the pro shops reminding people what the regulation is and reminding the residents that we have an obligation to follow that rule, but I don't think you can vote against it.
I heard.
Go ahead and vote against it if you want, but
I heard Dale was going to confiscate all this beer and take it home with him. I don't think anybody's going to vote against it, but personally, I don't think the board needs to make a motion to give Darren the authority to pass or to support the law, support
So
the
we
rule.
have the motion, we have a second, we have another resident comment.
Yeah, Dan Malig, Unit 24. I'm struggling to understand the difference between the licensed premises and the other facilities that we have. Can somebody articulate that distinction?
So we have three liquor licenses. We have one for the Mountain View complex, and that covers the clubhouse, the pro shop, and the golf course, the whole Mountain View complex. We have two different licenses up at the Preserve, one that covers the restaurant, and the other covers the pro shop and the golf course. Those are the only licensed facilities we have. This site used to be licensed, but they let it go for whatever reason. So we have three licenses, and they affect the Preserve, restaurant, golf course, pro shop, and Mountain View, the entire complex and golf course.
So the various tennis courts, for instance?
They're not
aren't
licensed
covered?
facilities.
Okay,
no.
thank you.
Well, actually, yes, the tennis pavilion is used for parties over at HOA 1, and they can bring, because they're not licensed, none of the tennis facilities are licensed for liquor. So these are liquor licenses. Okay. I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor of enforcing? All opposed? None. The motion carries. All right, so that was the last piece of business, and we move on to the members' general comments and questions. Anybody have questions, comments? Did you see the new ladies' room and men's room over there behind the Sonoran room? So I did. I love the color of the doors.
I was checking out the ladies' room. It looks good.
Any member comments, questions, concerns? Okay. Everyone have a blessed Thanksgiving, and thank you for coming today.